Welcome to Mal Mondays, the only show where I talk about my opinions once a week. For now. If that's not a good enough selling point, then that's all I got. Sorry. This week, for our inaugural episode, we are talking about the first 3 episodes of various season. This week, for our inaugural episode, we are talking about the first 3 episodes for various seasonal shows that I decided to watch, except the ones that I didn't get to episode 3 of because I don't care about them, which is a couple of them. So I'm going to start with the ones that I've already dropped. So let me pull up let me pull up my mal here so I can make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So the first show that I dropped this season was Orient. There'll be probably stuff on the screen to demonstrate what this show actually is. Orient. The show's fine. Like, it's not like I dropped it because it's like irredeemable garbage or anything. Like, I didn't take one look at. I should probably move this. I didn't take one look at this show and go just like, oh, this is irredeemable garbage. Why would I ever want to fucking touch this? No, it's fine. It's an okay show. It's an okay shonen. Like, that's all it is. Like, so the setup is that at one point in time, some demons came onto the scene and took over the world, and there were these samurai that fought them that I do not recall the names of. I think it was something close to Bushido, but it was not Bushido. It was like... Oh yeah, it was Bushis. They were called Bushis, which is kind of funny, I think. So yeah, the Bushi were warriors that fought the demons, but the demons so, like, completely won that battle that they instituted a whole, like, government and started teaching everyone that the Bushi were, like, evil criminals who fucking murdered people for no reason and caused all kinds of problems. You know, just revisionist history to, like, fucking keep people from rebelling. Meanwhile, they are secretly, they don't tell people this, but secretly, each year when the new crop of miners, like folks whom mine, not like miners as in people younger than 18, but like, you know, fucking pickaxe wielding miners, comes of age and goes to start mining, they're actually taken into just like abject slavery and sometimes eaten. And our main guy is like a dude who is set to be a miner but wants to be a Bushi because his friend is descended from Bushis, and his dad, the friend's dad, told them like the truth about the Bushis basically. And so he's been using this like fucked up giant pickaxe that looks like it almost looks like fucking Ruby's scythe from Ruby. Like it's a very weird weapon design. He's been using that when he's been training for mining, and secretly also been training for combat at the same time. And like there's some like moderate story stuff where like he tells his buddy who is descended from Bushi's like, hey, I'm gonna go become a Bushi now. I'm strong enough, and the dude's like, nah, you fucking, that wasn't real. My dad was just trying to make us feel better because we are currently discriminated against for being descended from Bushis. So he's disheartened and whatnot, and eventually, you know, he gets through the gate, finds out that yes, the Oni aren't, because that's what they're actually calling the show, Oni, which is just Japanese for demons or whatever, or is it devil, whatever. The Oni, they are in fact monsters. They kind of have neat designs. They're like big, fat cat folks with like a fucking giant mouth in the middle of their face that just like opens. And when they go into combat, like they get more muscular and get like weird eyes around their mouth. It's neat. But yeah, he's like, all right, these are clearly monsters. Time to fuck shit up. Oh fuck, I let them take away my pickaxe on the way in here. Now all I have are just these shitty pickaxes that they provide. Fuck, what am I gonna do? Guess I'm gonna fight a monster with a shitty garbage pickaxe that's like that fucking big and could not fucking break a pebble if I tried. Whoops. And he does that for a while and gets his fucking shit rocked, and then his other friend rolls in the worst motorcycle I have ever seen. It's got like this weird like dragon motif with like crystals on the back, and I know that what I just said sounds cool. A motorcycle with a dragon motif and crystals coming out the back sounds fucking sick. It's not. It looks like garbage. It looks so bad. But he comes in, brings him the proper pickaxe. He's like, yeah, now I can do this technique that I've been using. And he takes the pickaxe and he swings it back and like lodges the back end of it in the ground behind him. And the Oni's coming at him. And he like swings it in like a particular way, and the guy's like, oh, He's using the pickaxe like a katana and is using the ground as a sheath for an Iaido move. I kind of wanted to keep watching the show because that is the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. But overall, I don't think that the show is really, like... I have too many good shows to watch this season. I don't want to fuck with it. It's just, like, there's some neat stuff there. I like the world building. I think it's really funny that this guy is doing Iaido using the ground as a sheath. That is hilarious. Like, if this season was a little more barren, I would keep watching Orient. The show also has, like, really good character designs. Like, really good. Like... fantastic character designs just all the way through, but yeah, I ended up dropping it after the first episode because it was like that was funny, that was okay. I have several good shows to watch this season. Up next is let me the next show I dropped, Baro no Soretsu, or the Rose King's Requiem, or I guess Requiem of the Rose King, whatever. So this show seems like it should be so much better than it is. It takes place during the War of the Roses in, fucking... I don't know if medieval is the right term. I'm not super knowledgeable about, like, historical periods. But, back whenever the fucking War of the Roses was happening. King Henry and all that. Lancasters and Yorks. And it follows Richard of the Yorks, who is the son of also Richard, but, fucking inbred British families. During the War of the Roses, the Yorks are fighting the Lancasters. One of the Lancasters, I believe, is currently on the throne. I'm pretty sure that King Henry is a Lancaster. Note that this is not me being unsure about historical knowledge, of which I have absolutely no idea. This is me being not 100% sure of what's going on in the show. Of which I have some idea, sort of. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that Henry on the throne is a Lancaster. Richard of York is fighting them, and his son, Richard, is dealing with the fact that his mom hates him, and he hates himself because he's intersex. It's unclear exactly what's going on with his body, but, like, it is made clear that, like, there is sexual ambiguity to his anatomy. He has breasts and whatnot, and he doesn't feel good about this. He thinks that he's possessed by a demon, because this is fucking way back in the day when that was the assumption, was that if your body is any different than what is considered normal, then you're possessed by a demon, right? But I'm not faulting the show for that. That's the setting. That's what it is. So here's the thing, though, is that the entire first episode is just kind of, like, moving from, like, scene to scene without really setting any of them up properly, and I have no idea what's going on for most of it, other than, like, the vaguest idea of, like, oh, Duke Richard is off fighting, and young Richard is, like, being held in a tower by his mom, except now he's been captured by somebody else, and it didn't show him being captured, but he does seem to be captured. He's in chains, and this is how the entire episode is. It's just like 1 minute he is in a tower that his mom is keeping him, and the next he is in chains being captured by somebody else, and I don't know who that guy is, but he accidentally cops a feel when Richard almost stabs him. That's a thing. And then Richard, like, wanders off into the woods and meets a guy there, and they are super fucking gay for each other. This show's gay as fuck, by the way. This show's incredibly gay. And they're super fucking gay for each other, and they wanna fucking, like, make out and fall in love and fucking go be husbands forever, but they both got their own responsibilities to get back to, and Richard wants to fucking... Young Richard wants to fucking beat the shit out of the Lancasters and kill King Henry so that his father can wear the crown, whatever the crown was called. There was a particular name that they used for the crown. I don't remember it. It's been a while. It's been like, a week since I watched episode 2 of the show, because spoilers, I dropped the show on episode 2. I'm confused and, like, kind of off-put by a lot of, like, how the plot is structured and laid out in episode 1, but I like the aesthetic. The show has really good character designs, everyone's really hot, super fucking gay, and I am in for the concept of, like, intersex gay drama during the War of the Roses. That sounds good. And at the end of the first episode, it finally gives me like a real plot hook, because you have Duke Richard come home and be like, I just beat the shit out of the Lancasters and made Richard fucking like, or made King Henry swear the throne to me when he dies. And young Richard is like, sick. I'm gonna fucking kill King Henry so that you'll be king, Dad. And then it cuts to King Henry, and oh hey, it's the guy from the fucking forest clearing that Richard is super gay for, but he just swore to kill him. Oh no, drama, which I was actually into. Like, I was like, okay, now I understand what the plot of the show is. Episode 2 starts, immediately back to being just extremely confusing. I don't know what's going on at any given point in time. No scene is ever set up, like, transitions happen without a word, a thought, like, nothing. King Richard, or Duke Richard is, like, fucking captured, I guess, and, like, being tormented by this woman, because there are, like, 3 women in the show, and 2 of them are evil because it's gay. And, like, King Henry is just, like, existing, I guess. There's not, like, really much progress with that. Young Richard is just, like, what did Richard even do in this episode? I don't even remember what Richard did in episode 2, because, like, episode 2 is more confusing than episode 1, and also it looks worse. Episode 1 had some moments where it looked kind of bad, like, for example, anytime where there was an army on screen, because they were just all, like, fucking horrible, awful 3D models with no faces. Terrible. But, like, the actual character designs were good, and there were other aspects that, like, looked kind of good, so it was like, whatever, right? Episode 2 looks like fucking dog water. It looks like shit. There is no animation going on in this episode. Like, when characters fight each other, it just does a slideshow of, like... It does a slideshow of, like, here are some shots that would have been keyframes if we had animated this bit. There would also be other keyframes. It's not every keyframe, it's just some of the keyframes. And it's just like, God, fuck off. Why are you... This happens, like, 3 times in this episode. There's no real animation in it, like, aside from just people sitting and talking. It's awful. It's the worst. So I was like, you know what? This show is, like, confusing, and it's getting boring, and it's getting ugly, and fuck it, drops. Just, like, if your show is going to be shit despite a fucking great premise, or at least I think it's a great premise, I like it a lot, I like the premise a lot. If you're gonna be shit with a premise like that, then just, like, don't waste my time. Like, fuck off. So, Baro no Soretsu dropped at episode 2, and then finally my last of the dropped shows this season, so far, obviously, is Tribe 9, which I didn't find out until after I started watching it, is actually a tie-in for an upcoming 3D action RPG mobile game. Which is a very weird sentence to say. So, Tribe 9 is this game that's being made by, I don't know who's publishing it or who's, like, developing it mainly, but it's very clear that it has probably the same character designer as Danganronpa, or just somebody who is, like, so heavily influenced by that guy's aesthetic that, like, they are just, like, flagrantly copying it, because this looks like fucking Danganronpa. Like, the characters are Danganronpa characters, and this is not a diss. I fucking love Danganronpa. I think that its character design and, like, aesthetic sensibility is stellar. I love it. So, very interested in Tribe 9 when I see it being announced. I'm like, this looks sick. I want to watch this. I want to see what's up with this. Did not know that it was a tie-in to a mobile action RPG. Boy, is it a tie-in to a mobile action RPG. Oof. Oof. It's not the worst. I've seen worse. But, like, we're 3 episodes in now. And, well, actually, I think the 4th episode aired today, but I'm not downloading it. Fuck that. We're 3 episodes in terms of what I've seen, and there's just nothing about it that is, like, standout other than the, like, basic aesthetic, but it's not, like, done super well in the show. Like, the animation is fine. Like, they keep doing basketball and action, or baseball and action stuff, because, yeah, I should probably lay out the premise of the thing. It's like future Tokyo, and there are gangs, but instead of doing gang warfare, they play extreme baseball with each other, which is baseball where you've got like augmented bats and gloves, and the field is like the entire city, and you run a super fucking absurdly long distance, and like you hit super far, and it's like almost it's like absurd. It would be absurd in this game for somebody not to catch your ball before it hits the ground, so that just doesn't get you out. The only way to get someone out is to chase them down and tag them with the ball, and the runner can fight back and can like dodge and juke and weave and fucking kick the shit out of you if they so desire, right? Cool premise. I'm into it. And it keeps like, the pacing is like, could be worse. Like, it could be better, but it could be worse. Like, they do baseball stuff pretty regularly. You learn quickly like what each character's strengths are, sort of. And like what their like personality is, and like what their thing is, what their gimmick is, why they're a valuable addition to the team. And like extreme baseball is kind of neat. There are some somewhat raw moments, but like overall, like the animation is not great. Like, it's okay. It's not Baro no Soretsu level of bad, but it's not great either. And the writing is like, seems extremely fine so far, like extremely okay. Like, episode 1 is just like, there's a new guy in town who is super into the idea of being an extreme baseball player, so he wants to do that, and there's another guy who is a coward, but gets kind of press ganged into extreme baseball because he has really good eyes. And they fucking do a baseball match, and they both show off their abilities, and that's fine. And then episode 2, nothing really happens, but it introduces a villain at the end. Cool. Episode 2 is pretty bad, honestly. I probably should have dropped it at episode 2, but I wanted to see where it was going to go. And then episode 3 is like, there's some plot at the very beginning, and a little in the middle, and then the ending is just a dead zone. Villain guy showed up at the end of episode 2 to challenge them, and he's like, yeah, he's here at the beginning of episode 3, he's challenging them to a game of extreme baseball, and he's like, I'm gonna show you fuckers how it's done. The problem with extreme baseball is that y'all don't fucking kill each other enough. There's not enough blood and broken bones. I am going to massacre you. I'm like, okay, this is a fine way for a villain to be. Also, he looks like Infinite from Sonic Forces, so that's funny. And it's just like, they fight each other, and it's just like, yeah, this guy's strong, and he fucking beats the shit out of goddamn... what's the guy's name? What was the guy's name? It's the same name as that one game developer, the one that I really like, who did Devil May Cry. It's, Kamiya, there we go. Yeah, Kamiya is like, Shun Kamiya is the main, like, guy on the main team, and he gets his shit rocked super fucking hard by this opponent, who, like, fucking breaks his fucking ribs and shit, so they forfeit the match, and the guy's like, alright, because you forfeit the match, because I won, you have to disband your gang. And then it's just like, they get Kamiya to a hospital, and then they hang out a bit and eat, and that's the episode. And it's just like, this level of not much happening I could deal with if the show had better production, is the thing. Because the show has a really good aesthetic, so with good production, I would be willing to hang out. I would be willing to stick it out for the aesthetic and the production. Unfortunately, this show kind of has not the greatest production. It kind of has okay production. And that is just not enough to keep me on. So, Tribe 9 dropped at episode 3. And that's that. Now, I probably just like completely drowned out the saying now by doing the clap. But now, on to the shows that I'm actually still watching. Let's go. Excitement. First up, we have Sabiko Ibisco, which is the one that I feel is closest to getting dropped. The show has like a really cool aesthetic. Like, it's got like this fucking Guilty Gear-ass late 90s anime aesthetic. And the premise is like really neat because it's like, it's a post-apocalypse where like something happened that like started spreading a disease called the rust around around Japan. And like the places became like a desert and shit, and It's very cool. It's kind of got like desert punk vibes, but like also Guilty Gear, but like also some other stuff. It's pretty derivative, but like in a cool way where it's kind of a pastiche, I would say. Or not pastiche is not the word I'm looking for. What word am I looking for? Whatever, don't worry about it. It's cool. It's got a lot of different influences, enough so that it feels fairly like you can see where all the influences are coming from, but they're all blended together in a way that it's like, okay, I can see what's going on here. This is an interesting thing, right? And the premise is that everybody in this post-apocalyptic world thinks that the rust is caused by mushrooms, which is incorrect. In fact, mushrooms help with the rust, but they don't know that. There are people called mushroom keepers who plant mushrooms and tend to them. And the reason that people think the mushrooms cause the rust is because the mushroom keepers go to places where there's a lot of rust and they plant mushrooms there, but it takes a while for the mushrooms to deal with the rust. It takes a while for them to purify it. So people just see mushrooms growing in areas with lots of rust and they go, oh, those mushrooms must be causing the rust. So mushroom keepers are viewed as evil terrorists who are giving people this disease called the rust. Because when you breathe in the rust particles, it gets in you. Your skin starts blotching, rust colored, and you die eventually. It's this wasting disease, right? So, main character aKeBI-CHAN Ibisco is a mushroom keeper who is searching for this mythical super powerful mushroom called the Rust Eater that can instantly cure rust and is just the best for dealing with the rust, right? He's searching for it. He doesn't know where it is, but he's after it because somebody close to him is dying of rust and he wants it, right? I believe that was his motivation. And he ends up getting together with this doctor who is secretly buying black market mushrooms because he has noticed that they can be actually helpful in treating rust, but it's illegal for him to have them because everybody thinks that the rust is caused by mushrooms. So he kind of gets what's going on, and his sister is a cop, and he is trying to save her life with these experimental mushroom medicines. And so when he finds out that Bisco is after the Rust Eater, he goes, all right, I'll come help you look for that. I'm a doctor. I know what I'm doing. I can keep you alive out there, and I'll know what to do with the Rust Eater once we find it. And that's the setup, and it took 3 episodes to get through that setup because it's really weird and is cutting back and forth between different time points in Bisco's journey, and they didn't have to do it like that. It could have just been a lot easier, and we could have had Bisco and Nekoyama. What was the guy's name? Nekoyagi, something like that. Whatever. Everybody calls him Panda-san because he has a dark circle around one eye that makes him look like a panda. So whatever. It's episode 3 before Bisco and Panda go, okay, we're doing this adventure together. That could have happened in episode 1 or 2. It does not need to be like this. But whatever, because the show has pretty decent production, not amazing, but pretty decent production, a really good aesthetic, a fucking fantastic aesthetic, and a concept that I find very interesting. I like the world building a lot. There's a lot of weird animal shit in this show, which is cool. Also, Panda's sister, Pau, is, I mentioned that she's a cop. She's just a One Piece character. She's got the One Piece proportions of hips, waist, tits kind of thing, and she's she's got this sort of 4 helmet thing on her forehead that is very One Piece, and she's in a skin tight leather uniform with a jacket that goes over it, but she doesn't put her arms in the sleeves. She just wears it like a cape. She looks absolutely like a One Piece character, and she fights with just a metal rod. I don't think it's a sword. I'm pretty sure it's just a pole, a metal pole. She's really cool, but also she's a cop, so unfortunately she must die. She like I said, Panda is trying to cure her. It wants the Rust Eater for a cure. The production of the show could definitely be better. It has really good backgrounds and really good art, but that art is not always animated the best. There's a lot of JPEGs sliding around in fucking Adobe Premiere and whatnot. But I believe that this is the studio's first work. So like I'm willing to be I'm willing to be a little bit, a little bit generous. I'm willing to be a little bit nice to it, and I'm interested to see where it goes. And for now, I'm watching this show because I do like it. I think it's neat. I think it has a really good aesthetic. I think that it could be really good if they do good things moving forward with it. And I hope that they do. I hope that it doesn't turn out to just be kind of bad. I hope I don't end up dropping it. Up next is aKeBI-CHAN no SAILOR-FUKU, or aKeBI's sailor uniform. Oh yeah, I probably should have said that Sabiko Ibisco translates to Rust Eater Bisco. That's whatever. It's, yeah. Anyway. aKeBI-CHAN no SAILOR-FUKU, aKeBI's sailor uniform. This is the best looking show of this season, like visually. The animation in the show is incredible. Absolutely absurdly incredible. Gorgeous backgrounds, gorgeous character designs, huge amounts of detail, constant motion. Even when they're just like sitting around and talking, they're constantly just moving and emoting and doing stuff. This show's great. This show's really good. It's just a really, really cute, gay ass slice of life show, because this show's so fucking gay. We'll get to that, but. So, aKeBI is a girl who lives out in the country and is excited to go to a school that that girls from like Tokyo also tend to go to. Like, it's kind of a bit more mixed rather than like the country schools that she's used to. And the big reason that she's excited, other than just like meeting like city girls and stuff, is that the school uniform is a sailor uniform, which she has wanted to wear for a long time. She's really excited to wear a sailor uniform. Her mom went to this school and is and wore the uniform, and her mom like does sewing and stuff, so she makes the uniform for her. Her mom hand makes it, and it's so like it's a cute uniform. It's fucking beautiful. She loves it. She's so excited. Like there's like a whole thing where like it shows them like going out to the store to like pick the materials, and then like and her mom is like working on the uniform and then gets up to go do something else, and aKeBI's like, wait, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I got such other thing to do. And she's like, oh, I'll do it, just keep you working on the uniform. It's really cute. Like, it does like a montage of just like aKeBI doing like all of the chores around the house so that her mom can just spend all her time working on the sailor uniform. It's so cute. She gets there on the first day, and nobody else is wearing the sailor uniform. Everybody else is wearing blazers. Everybody else is wearing a completely different uniform, and she's mortified. And cut to her in like meeting with the principal, and the principal is like, oh yeah, that used to be our uniform. We changed it. We probably should have said something about that, since in your entrance interview you did say that like the reason that you were like, interested to come to this school was because of the sailor uniform. We probably should have been like, oh, maybe we should tell her that that's not the uniform anymore. That's our bad. So, in view of the circumstances, since it was our bad, and also since this is like a uniform that has been worn at the school, it's just not the current uniform, fuck it, you can wear it, that's fine, it's up to you. And so there's like, well, which way should I go? Do I want to keep wearing the sailor uniform and stick out and seem weird, but like wear this thing that I really want to wear? Or do I just switch to the uniform that everybody else is wearing? And she decides to stick with the sailor uniform. And that's basically the end of episode 1. Like, she goes into school for the first day, and because the day that she found out that the uniforms were different was the entrance ceremony. It wasn't the first day of school. She goes into school for the first day and actually like meets a person there who likes her a lot, because she's like this really charming, likable girl, and she's immediately making friends, and she's so excited, and the show is adorable. Episode 2, things get gay. Things get fucking lesbian in this show. Every single girl in class fucking wants to get it in with aKeBI. Like, they are all into her. Like, they want it. And like, it's tasteful. It's not like fucking, there's no groping going on. There's nothing like that. It's just girls hanging out in high school or middle school. Is it high school or middle school? I don't recall. Either way, girls hanging out in school, being obviously in love with each other, but also not really knowing like how to fucking interpret that. doing stuff like fucking falling asleep with their head on each other's laps and stuff. It's cute. It's a cute show. Episodes 2 and 3 are just that kind of stuff, and it's great. It's really good. This is one of the best shows this season, I would say. Like, it is between this and one other show for the best show of the season in my mind currently. This show's really good. I would love for, because right now the gayness of it is like vibes, right? Like, none of these girls are aware of how incredibly gay they are being. And I would be very interested to see if they ever become aware. Now, I know that there's, in slice of life shows with lesbian vibes, there is a tendency not to do that. There's a tendency never to acknowledge how fucking gay it is. If that is the case here, if it never acknowledges it, I will be somewhat disappointed. I'll love it regardless because the show's great. But if the fact that these characters are gay as fuck is ever acknowledged, that would be fucking... that would be great. That would be really good, because, it's already, a really good sort of, coming of age, figuring out what attraction is kind of vibe to it, and if that is, actually what it's going for, rather than just what it ends up feeling like, then that's... So, aKeBI-CHAN no SAILOR-FUKU, watch it. I'm watching it, you should watch it. Watch this show. And finally... the other show that I fucking adore this season that is currently vying with aKeBI-CHAN no SAILOR-FUKU for the #1 spot, fantastic show, is Sono Bisque Doll wa Koi o Suru, or this is how it is translated in the subs that I watch. I do not currently know enough Japanese to speak to the degree of localization that has been given to this title, so this could be completely this is what the title is in Japanese, or it could be kind of fucked with a little bit to sound better in English. I don't know. But it is translated in the subs as My Dress Up Darling. This is a fantastic rom-com. The concept is the main guy, Gojo, is really into Hina dolls because his grandfather makes them and runs a shop, a Hina doll shop. And he, as a child, sees his grandfather making them and is like, that's cool. I want to do that. These things are so pretty. I want to make pretty things like that. And he's bullied for this by a girl that he knows as a kid, and it causes him to become ashamed of himself, but he doesn't want to stop doing it, so he just stops talking to people because he doesn't want to deal with people talking to him about his interests and fucking rejecting him for it and whatnot. So he just doesn't talk to people. Fast forward to high school, and he has no friends. He doesn't talk to anybody. He spends all his time at home working on Hina dolls and talking to them because he doesn't talk to anybody else except his grandfather. Sad life. He he meets Kitagawa, who is the fucking hottest girl in class. She's got this long blonde hair with pink tips, and she's got all these piercings in her ears that look super fucking cute, and she's got these piercing kind of reddish pinkish eyes that are just gorgeous. And when she is introduced, she's talking to her friends about this guy that tried to come on to her in the hair salon the previous day. And his approach was to notice that she had an anime character keychain on her bag and kind of try to nag her about it. He's like, oh, that's from an anime, right? Man, that's so fucking lame. And her response is, you're the lame one. Fuck off. And she just walks away. Not a fucking second thought. And all her friends are like, I mean, if he was cute, you could have at least given him a shot. And she's like, no, fuck that guy. You shouldn't fucking make fun of people for being into things. It was clear that I like this thing based on the fact that I put it on my bag. Don't fucking make fun of it if you want me to have any interest in talking to you. So instantly, this girl is an absolute fucking queen. Just go off. We stan. I feel dirty saying stan. Ugh. Whatever though, we do stan because respect yourself, respect your interests. Don't let people disrespect them. A little joking, that's fine. I'm fine with poking fun a little bit. Don't fucking be a shit dick about it. Friends can joke about each other's interests a little, but you should not, the point of the joke should not be you're lame for being into this. That's a bad joke. That sucks. Don't be like that. 100% with Kitagawa here. Then after school, Gojo is staying behind to clean up the classroom. He and several other people are on cleaning duty, but they all left because he is a doormat and will just let them do so and will just clean it up himself. Kitagawa walks in. She's also on cleaning duty. She's a little bit late because she went to the bathroom. And she's like, wait, where are all the other people? And Gojo's like, oh, they've had like work or something. They're busy. They're busy tonight. I'm just doing it myself. And she's like, Gojo, are they taking advantage of you? And he's like, oh yeah, I guess they kind of are. And she's like, man, that's not fucking cool. And he's like, oh no, it's fine. You know, they fucking, you know, they're always going on about like how reliable I am. Like, you know, I want to be reliable. I want to fucking, you know, I want to be of use to people. And she's like, yeah, but like you clearly don't want to actually be here cleaning up like this. Like it's clearly a problem for you. You have things to do too, and they're just using you to further their own ability to spend their afternoon how they want to. Like you should fucking stand up for yourself, Gojo. You shouldn't let people walk all over you like that. Once again, Queen, wonderful, love this character, the best. So Gojo goes home and he's working on sewing outfits for the Hina dolls, because that's the part that he's good at. He's no good at drawing the faces on them and like doing their makeup and doing their hair and stuff, but he's very good at making little outfits for them, which is adorable. That's wonderful. Oh, I love him. And he's working on it, and the sewing machine that he has at home stops working because it is this fucking like ancient like iron looking like sewing machine, the kind of thing where it's got like the little like, instead of a pedal like modern sewing machines have, it's got like a thing on the bottom that's like, there's like an axle and like the board is like on the axle and it can like kind of go either way. I don't know exactly how that works. I think that you keep moving that like back and forth to keep the sewing machine going, but I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know how these sewing machines work. They're old as fuck. This one doesn't work anymore. So he's like, well, we've got a sewing room in school. Nobody uses it because there's no club that like does that in school currently. So I can just go there and do that until we get to replace our sewing machine at home. And he does, and Kitagawa walks in on him. And he's horrified. He's like, oh no, she's gonna see that I'm into fucking dolls. Oh no, what the fuck? And she sees that he is making clothing for dolls, and she is delighted. She's like, hey, you know how to sew? You're good at sewing? Okay, check this out. And she like has him turn around while she gets changed. And she switches into like an unidentifiable item of clothing. Like it is unclear what this clothing item is. And she goes, it pulls up a picture on her phone, shows it to him, and it's this girl that's in like a gothic Lolita outfit, like fucking with like the headpiece and rose on it, and like she's got like a collar on and a chain coming off of the collar, and your fucking massive fucking rack is all fucking cleavagey in the dress, and like it's got like the long like extra bits on the sleeves, like, you know, like where the sleeves like come down to like here, and then it's like a big diagonal bit for like these like long flowing bits and with ruffles and stuff. And she's like, yeah, I'm trying to cosplay this girl. And he's like, are you? This doesn't look anything like that. What's going on here? And he like starts looking at the actual item. He's like, wow, you've done a fucking garbage job on sewing this. How did you even do it this bad? And then he looks up at her face and sees that she is like on the verge of tears. He's like, oh shit, I'm sorry. I'm being so rude. What is wrong with me? And she's like, no, it's okay. Listen, you're clearly way better at sewing than I am. Would you help me cosplay this character? And he agrees to do it, and she's so excited, and she's explaining to him about the character, and she's explaining how she's this character from a porn game who like is like the ice queen, but then you fucking turn her into a giant fucking M by the end of the game. And she's explaining how much she loves this character and how much she wants to become her, and it's great. She's so fucking cute. She's so fucking like into this stuff that she's into. It's adorable how passionate she is about it, and she's so excited that she has somebody who can help her actually make her cosplay a reality. And it's great. Like, that's the setup for the show. It's just two people who have niche interests, and one of them is like 100% does not give a fuck what anyone thinks about it, completely unapologetic. This is what I'm into, this is what I like, I care about this, do not fucking be shitty about it or I will not be around you. And the other has been fucking hiding himself from everybody around him his entire life because he's so afraid that they won't respect him for what he's into. And they're obviously a perfect couple, and they will obviously fall completely in love with each other by the end of the show. But in the meantime, Kitagawa seems to be like pretty completely oblivious to the fact that she's like the hottest girl in school, and completely oblivious to the fact that this might have an effect on Gojo. And it's very funny and very cute, and she's wonderful. And episode 2 is very fluffy and just kind of fun, where it's just she comes over to get her measurements taken, because you need to have proper measurements to make cosplay. If you're going to make these fucking outfits out from scratch, you need the measurements. So she she comes over and she's like, yeah, let's fucking do the measurements. And Gojo's like, oh, I thought you were going to do that yourself, because it says that to get accurate measurements, you need to be in your underwear. That's not, you can't do that in front of me. And she's like, oh no, it's okay. And she like fucking opens her shirt and she's like, I wore a swimsuit. And it's not any better. This bikini that she's wearing is yeah, you know. So episode 2 is just a lot of very, very funny, just like Gojo freaking the fuck out about the fact that he is seeing and interacting with this incredibly hot girl in her swimsuit, and Kitagawa being completely oblivious to why he would be freaking out at all, until like the very last measurement that they do is her inseam, and it is that moment as his hand is between her thighs that she's like, oh wait a minute, it's so fucking funny. The show's great. Episode 3, they like go to school and people are kind of talking about how, yeah, they seem to be hanging out with each other a lot of the time, and I think they even like walk to school together or something like that, or like, are they dating or something? And Gojo freaks the fuck out because he's like, oh no, if people know that Kitagawa is spending time with me, her reputation will be ruined. This isn't okay. And he starts to withdraw from Kitagawa, and when when she fucking catches up to him after school and is like, hey, what the fuck, man, why have you been avoiding me? He explains, like, yeah, fucking people like think that we're dating and stuff. Like, I fucking, you know, it can't be good for you to be seen with me. And she's just like makes a joke like, oh, maybe we should start dating. Anyway, let's fucking go shopping for cosplay stuff. And like it's so cute because he is so convinced that like she is like mortified to be around him, and she's just like, nah, dude, you're my friend. Like, you're a cool guy. It's great. And they go shopping for cosplay stuff, and she like shows him, you know, some other cosplayers that are like kind of inspiration for her on Twitter and whatnot. And she's like, yeah, you go to like events and stuff. I think the next event is in 2 weeks. And he's like, what? 2 weeks? I don't have fucking time to fight. I don't know if I can make that outfit in 2 weeks. Ugh. And that's the end of episode 3. I have actually already seen episode 4, but this episode is not about that. This episode is about the first 3 episodes, so don't worry about that. This show's really good. Watch this show. This show's fucking fantastic. Like, incredible show. And that is all I've really got for Mal Mondays right now, because I do eventually want to start working manga into Mal Mondays, but I don't know exactly how I want to do that, because I don't want to just talk about like every new chapter of every manga that I'm reading every Monday, because I am currently reading, I'm currently reading 10 manga right now, so like that's just tedious. That's just, so I don't know how exactly I'm gonna do that. We'll start it at some point, but for right now, anime is enough. Seasonals are good. Watch aKeBI-CHAN no SAILOR-FUKU. Watch Sono Bisque Doll. Sono Bisque Doll wa Koi o Suru. Maybe watch Sabiko Ibisco if you're interested in that. Probably don't bother with Orient or Bado no Soretsu or fucking Tribe 9, because they're just not that good. So yeah, y'all have a fucking great week. Be sure to check out the good shows and ignore the bad, and I'll see you next week.